Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Football Fignuts podcast. This is episode number 174 overall, but if you're keeping track, it's actually season 4, episode number 24, and my name is Britt.
I'm Craig.
Craig, we are back. I took last week off for mental health purposes.
Sure, sometimes you need to.
And just general exhaustion. 2020 has been exhausting.
We're almost at the end of the year.
Seriously.
Not the end of the, everything, but the end of the year.
Yeah. So. Oh, seriously. I will not have any problem with saying goodbye to 2020. But before we get into all this stuff, because a lot happened this week, we're gonna discuss names. The metrics spit out names today that I was like, what in the holy hell is happening? Excuse me. And we have a lot to talk about. But first, let's start where we always start. And I'm coughing, which means I need a beverage. Craig, what are you drinking?
So tonight I have a new beer because last week or week before I went to Total Wine and they have a lot of single cans.
The one up by me?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's very difficult to pick a 6-pack for yourself.
Oh, there's so much
walls
selection
of singles.
And that was before Craig found out there's actually a walk-in. Well, he knows about what I call the secret cooler, which is not a secret. It's a giant cooler in the back that says "Please come in," but nobody ever pays attention to it. And that's where they keep a lot of the fancy. There's actually a singles rack in there too.
Yes, I saw that today. Actually,
did you go in there today?
I did.
Did you buy anything?
I had to
today?
buy some Christmas presents. Nothing for myself.
Oh,
except maybe a bottle of wine, but no beer.
Oh, no beer for yourself today? Hey, quick
but
question.
Yeah, I did see it, and I saw the racks of singles.
Yep.
It was tempting. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you look for baby elves?
I did.
No, it wasn't there.
No.
Shit. That was my last hope.
Did you see it anywhere?
No, I haven't. So baby elves. What are we talking about? Fat Orange Cat, which is rapidly becoming one of my favorite side breweries.
They're good.
They're very good. They're smaller. They distribute through 12% Beer Project. Baby Kittens is one of the best beers, I think. It's probably one of the best IPAs I've had all year.
If you like New England IPAs, you definitely need to try it.
Oh yeah, and they actually make a really good white stout. Did you tried that? All Cats
yes.
Are Gray in the Dark. Yeah, very good stuff.
That was good.
Yeah, so they're really good. Well, they put out a special edition of Baby Kittens, and it was called Baby Elves. You can't get it. I haven't found it anywhere. You can't get it. You can get it at their brewery, which, by the way, is in a remote, middle of nowhere, not accessible by any highway part of Connecticut.
A lot of trees.
It's 40 miles from my house. 40 miles from my house, and it takes an hour and 25 minutes to get there.
Yep. There's no direct route.
Yeah, no, you spend 20 minutes on the highway, and then you spend the rest of the time navigating through cow fields to get to this brewery, which is why they don't distribute from their home location. They distribute from another location because it's just economical sense. But getting there, that's the only place I can find that has it online. Even the distributor is like, no, we don't have it.
Nope.
So, all right, anyway. So what is this you're drinking now?
So this beer is a IPA called Sex and Candy.
By who?
Brewed by 18th Street Brewery in Hammond, Indiana.
Oh, so you went outside the local area.
I did.
All right.
Now, apparently, our other contributor, Sean, did not like this beer. He said it was an IPA, period.
See, I thought, wasn't he talking about... Wasn't he talking about one of the beers I gave him when he said... Oh, no, that was when I gave him the Winterfest. I gave him Aspetuck Brewing's Winterfest, and he was like, it's a winter beer. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? That's a really solid winter beer. The other day I was watching...
I enjoyed it.
It's very good. It's not holiday ale, but what is? And I was watching Elf the other day, and I had one in front of me. I took a picture of the can and put it on the Connecticut Beer Drinkers group, and people were like, oh, that's awesome. How is it? Where'd you get it? Oh. So, all right, so try this beer. Tell me about it.
We'll try. So you can definitely not see through this beer. It's murky.
Is that beyond murky? Is that beyond dank?
No, I don't think it's that level though. So let's take a sip.
It's not beyond dank. Okay. See how this goes.
All right. It's it's kind of thick, very smooth, easy to drink, and the bite is all on like the back end of it.
Okay.
So like right now it's starting to dry out a little bit, but not too bad. Not too bad. Very good.
All right.
Very solid IPA.
I also have an IPA tonight. I have a double IPA that I just procured this afternoon from New Park Brewing. We like New Park. We like New Park a lot, and they deliver, and they pushed up their delivery date because of the impending storm, which I believe has started. My windows are closed, so I believe it is snowing here in Connecticut.
It is snowing.
And it will snow for approximately the next 12 to 16 hours at a rate of 1 to 3 inches per hour, so we're in desperate straits here, so I might as well have a beer. This one is called Cloud 9. It is a double IPA, and this is going to pique Craig's interest because he loves high ABV beers. It's 9%.
Ooh.
Yes, it's a 9%, which is, I guess most triples are between 8 and 9%. This is so dank. I don't even want to say it stinks because it doesn't stink. It smells so strongly of bitter citrus, like tangerine kind of smell. So here I go. I'm going in.
All right.
I have a can for this in the fridge for you, by the way.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice of you. And the answer is...
I no longer have a can of this in the fridge for you. Wow. Okay. That is complex. Oh, wait a minute. Oh.
It's changing.
All right. This ebbs and flows like the tide. It comes in very juicy tasting, almost like a strong... I gotta find out what hops they use in this. There's clearly some Citra, but I'm tasting something else that's very hoppy. I'm gonna guess it's Galaxy. So it comes in very citrus, and then the citrus pulls back, and the hops flavor kind of comes in, and then the as the hop flavor settles in, the citrus flavor comes right back again. So it's almost in waves. Oh man, and I have such a you just drank a strong beer aftertaste from this.
Is that good or bad though?
I don't know. I'm gonna say that's probably the worst part of the experience. Is that 30 seconds after I drank it, I'm getting this really strong aftertaste. But yeah, I mean, I've definitely had worse. It's not terrible. I'm looking forward to opening another one of these. Not tonight. It's 9%, but definitely open another one of these. All right, let's get into it. Burning hot takes coming up on you. Craig, you giving or receiving this week?
I will give.
All right, what do you got for me?
All right, straight up. Are you worried about the Chiefs?
Oh yeah.
Because, they lost to Vegas.
Yep.
They almost lost to Denver, and Miami gave them a run for their money.
Yep.
So does this concern you? Are they looking past teams? It's Miami.
They are underperforming against teams that they're not. It's the focus. This team at this time last year looked like a team on a mission. They looked like they were definitely tuning up for the postseason. Now they look like a team that's going out there and just expects to throw the ball around for half an hour and then go home. I mean, they scored 30 unanswered points on the Dolphins. So they played really terrible the first quarter, and then they scored 30 points in the middle of the game, and then they just decided they weren't going to play anything on the second. What we learned about the Chiefs against the Dolphins is the defense cannot close the door. The defense cannot close the door. They had a 20-point lead. It was 30-10. They could not maintain that lead and not make it interesting in the fourth quarter. We also learned that Patrick Mahomes apparently thinks he can make things happen on every play. Did you see the play where he lost 25 yards on the sack?
I did not see that. So what happened? He just ran around?
Two guys got through the line, and you know what happens. When the pocket collapses, Patrick likes to roll out the back end of it and look down the field. So he ran backwards and started to run towards his left. The two linebackers that got through were quick. And so he kept backpedaling to try and get some more space, and backpedaling. Next thing you know, he kind of turns his head, and you can see he's like out of the corner of his eye. He's like, "Oh my God, is that the pylon?" Yeah, you backed up 20 yards, and you are now barely out of the end zone. And so they sacked his ass at like the 5-yard line. And I'm just like, and he didn't throw the ball away. He made no effort he kept the entire time. He's like, "I'm going to make this play happen." You can't. There are some plays that you're just not going to make something happen. Even in Madden. I mean, I play Retro Bowl on my phone. I'm not a big Madden guy. I play Retro Bowl on my phone probably 2 or 3 times every Retro Bowl game. I'm throwing the ball out of bounds. And I've got
because sometimes they're all covered. And,
I've got a 5-star running back, 2 4-star wide receivers, and a 5-star tight end, and I still sometimes have nowhere to throw the ball. It happens.
It happens.
But Mahomes refuses to acknowledge that. So I think Patrick needs to reset his mindset. I think the receivers need to start really getting in gear. We've seen Hilaire kind of fade the last couple weeks. Now, to be fair, he's been sick. But the easy answer is yes, I am worried about the Chiefs. Yes, I think they could lose this week to New Orleans. With or without Brees, I think they could lose this week to New Orleans.
Really?
What are your thoughts? Because I'm a fan, so I'm biased.
Yeah, no, I think the same thing. I think after they won the Super Bowl, and I think we've mentioned this prior, after they lost to the Patriots, came back, they had that drive to win the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And now that giant bonfire is not a bonfire anymore because they're like, yeah, we won.
Yeah.
Look how good, amazing we are. So we're going to win.
First
and then,
off,
I'm telling you, any given Sunday, so no matter how bad a team is, they can always win,
Yes, I agree. I mean, the Saints are only 3-point underdogs in that game. 3 points.
And that's without Brees.
Well,
Or...
that feeds into my question for you.
Oh.
Today, the Saints designated Drew Brees to return from the IR, which makes him eligible to return as early as Week 15. However, they said they would not rush Brees back just to face Kansas City. My question for you, Craig, do we see Drew Brees on the field this week, or do the Saints hold him back just to be safe one more week?
I think if you're the Saints, I think you have to play it safe and not play Brees if he's eligible. I mean, unless 3 quarterbacks get hurt, then, you may not have a choice. But at this point in the season, I don't think it's worth the rush. Because I was worried about the Saints after Brees got hurt, and they haven't scored as much, but they've held their own,
All right,
they're better than I thought they were going to be.
So what are they? What's their record now? I just had it. I just had it on the screen. Hold on, I've got it. They're 10-3.
Okay.
They're 10-3. Hold on, I'm pulling up their schedule now. Okay, so we're up to Week 15, which means they've got 3 games left, counting this week. They're playing the Chiefs. Then they're home against Minnesota. I'm not worried about that game. Then they're at the Panthers.
Now they would beat the Panthers.
So let's assume Taysom Hill can't beat the Chiefs, which is a big assumption because Taysom Hill, aside from the fact that he looked like he didn't know what he was doing against Philadelphia, has been reliable. Even if you lose to the Chiefs, you're going to win Week 16 against the Vikings, which, by the way, is a Friday. It's because Christmas night.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas afternoon game. Oh, my God. It's a Christmas present for us all. Vikings Saints.
It's a Christmas miracle.
And it's on NFL Network and Amazon, which means it's probably on Twitch.
Ooh.
That's a 4:30 start, though. We do need to do a Twitch game. We need to host a Twitch game and just sit there and talk.
We could. Why not?
I mean,
I think. Are we allowed to? I don't know how that works.
Oh, it's absolutely. Twitch's rules require all channels to be hostable or to be co-streamed. I think you can put restrictions on it, but I don't think the NFL has because I've seen people use it as a cheap way to get views.
Oh,
so,
all right.
We could co-host a stream, mute their audio, and you and I could call a game. It's something we could do. All right, so anyway, so even if you lose to the Chiefs, you're going to beat the Vikings at home. And then you're going to beat the Carolinas. You're going to get to 12 wins, even if you do nothing this week. So why risk it? Unless he walks through the door and he's like, I am 100%, and a doctor behind him goes, he's 100%. And then his mom calls and goes, God bless her if she's still alive, Mrs. Brees. He still goes, Drew is 100%. Then you start him. But if he sits there and says, I'm 99%, I can go. No, get to 12 wins, win the division, are they going to get what's the standings? Where the hell are the standings?
Make sure you look at this year's standings.
Yeah, that's a key part of this, huh? Standings. I mean, where's the conference standings? All right, the Packers.
So the
Packers are 10-3. The Saints are 10-3.
And that's it.
And the Packers right now have the tiebreaker because they're higher ranked in the playoff conference race. So
Yep.
New Orleans has already clinched his playoff spot. I believe. Yes, they've already clinched a playoff spot. They have not clinched the division. The Packers have. So what you're really playing for is to get that bye, but there's only one bye. There's only one bye this year. So that means you think, oh my God, this is crazy. All right, so they're tied with the Packers. If they rest Brees this week and still could beat the Chiefs without it, and they win 12 games, that means the Packers have to lose at least 2 of their last 3, and they're at home against the Panthers, win.
They're going to win.
They're at home against the Titans.
Nah, they'll probably win. Depends which Titans show up.
And then they're at the Bears.
They'll probably win.
So I don't know. I just don't. I think a Drew Brees healthy in week 1 of the playoffs is better than a bye.
Yes,
I'm sorry. It's better than a. We need to win out to have a shot at a bye when Green Bay's schedule appears to be much easier. I don't think you rush Brees back here. I just don't. And that's not because I'm a Chiefs fan and I don't want to see Brees on the field. That's just because I'm thinking long term. The Saints aren't worried about whether or not they beat the Chiefs. They've already got 10 wins. They're already in the playoffs. They're not worried about beating the Chiefs this weekend. This is a cosmetic win. It doesn't even affect their playoff chances because it's not against a division opponent. Playing against the AFC in terms of tiebreakers is not going to matter.
No.
They need help from Green Bay. So go out there, play the Chiefs, have a good time. Let Taysom Hill get one more start if Brees isn't 100%. Because if you walk Brees out there, and on the last play of the game, as he throws the winning touchdown, he breaks his leg in 4 places.
And he's done.
That's a problem. All right, I've wasted too much time on this question. What have you got for me for the last question?
So the last question, I'm going to use Cinch's question because he just sent this to us. So
oh, did he?
Let's use
good.
it.
I haven't seen it then.
Okay. If you have multiple teams in the playoffs, fantasy,
okay,
do you start the same player in all 3 teams, or do you look to the bench, on the bench for 1 or 2 of the teams? So he has Thielen on all of his teams. If Thielen does bad,
he kills
all 3 teams are kind of screwed.
And the same thing, if Thielen goes off and scores 30 points, he puts all three of his games in the next round of the playoffs.
Right.
Here's the answer, and this is all right. So I have to put a asterisk on this because I'm playing him in one of those leagues. I won my division. I am playing him as the wild card. The winner's going to our fantasy Super Bowl. So I have to put that asterisk on it. I don't like reaching for contrarian plays unless it's a situation where it's a Sunday night or Monday night game and I'm desperate. For example, let's imagine it's a Sunday night. I get down, it's Sunday night, and I'm down 40 points to cinch.
Okay.
And I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of I have a flex spot. And in that flex spot right now, I have, let's say, trying to think of who's on that team just to make this realistic. Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake, even though he's been subpar the last couple weeks, he's gotten a touchdown like the last 2 or 3 games. He's given me at least 10 to 15 points. He's been reliable. Okay? Or I can put in Henry Ruggs. Now, Henry Ruggs is a bad example because he hit the COVID list. But let's imagine he's not on the COVID list. Henry Ruggs is either +2 or +30. If he catches that touchdown bomb, he's a game changer. When I go into that game, I'm putting in the reliable Kenyon Drake. If I get to the night game and they haven't played yet, either I can still swap them. Let's just say hypothetically I can still swap them. And I'm down 30 points, I'm putting in the home run hitter. Because what if I got to lose? Kenyon Drake isn't going to get me the 30 points. There's a 0.1% chance that's going to happen. And there's a 0.5% chance that Ruggs is going to get it for me. So I'm going to put in the home run hitter.
So I'm to swing for it then, right?
Right.
Do you do that on every team?
No.
Or only one team?
It's situational. It is situational. I put my best lineup on the board. I take a look at the matchups. I put my best lineup on the board. I don't care if it costs me the season. Don't care. You got here with a guy, unless the guy is really projected to do poorly. Let's say Adam Thielen, and who is Minnesota playing this week? Where is it?
Something.
Minnesota's somewhere on this list. Hold on. We need like some sort of music for that.
Wait, where the hell are they?
Where is Minnesota? Minnesota's not. There's no more bye weeks. Where are the Vikings?
I don't see them.
There they are, the Bears.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
I don't fear the Bears secondary. I don't. Not for the Vikings. And this game's in Minnesota, so I don't fear the Bears secondary here. But let's say they were going up against, let's say we were playing the Colts in Indianapolis. Okay. I might be a little bit more afraid there.
Mm-hmm.
No, unless there's something that the matchup is scary, I really should just look at the metric and see what I have Thielen like tagged for here, right? All right, stand by. I got to go away from my mic to do this.
You have him for 18.3 points.
Okay, then I start him. Unless there's somebody with 18.4 on my bench.
Justin Jefferson is 18.8.
Then I would start Justin Jefferson. I'm starting the best available players. I am not overthinking this, because if I overthink this, then I'm going to end up in a hole. And let me tell you something. CBS tells you who the best, air quotes, coach or manager in your league is.
It's you.
It is me. But it's based solely off of how much smarter were you than the CBS experts. We told you to start player A, and you started player B, and player B was better. You were smarter than us. What percentage, what's the maximum percentage of points you got out of your lineup? Did you start the best available people, and what percentage of times? I'm high on that. Not because I listen to the experts or the projections, but because I go with what I know and go with what I think. If I look at my lineup and somebody's better, I'm going to put them in this week. Last week was different. Last week I actually ignored the experts, and I was right by 0.1 points, by the way. The experts told me to start Taysom Hill, and he was 0.1 points lower than Kyler Murray.
Wow.
Yes. So I'm not counting it as a victory, but again, I was right. So don't overthink the playoffs. Go ahead. Your answer on this. Just don't overthink the playoffs. Put your best guys out there and just
exactly.
Go.
Same things. Unless there's an injury concern, like that's the only thing that would really bother me if a team lists someone as probable or questionable and it's a game time decision. Like stuff like that is really annoying in fantasy. But yeah, I would say go with the guys who've got you there. Unless you have someone playing Jacksonville or the Jets or even the Bengals, then maybe think about it. But otherwise, no.
Your best players. I'm going to take it beyond go with the guys who got you there. Go with your best available guys. Justin Jefferson has really emerged. If you think Justin Jefferson is going to outscore Adam Thielen, do it.
Yes.
Do it. Let me tell you right now before we transition that last week on our live Twitch stream, which, by the way, thank you to everybody who came by our live Twitch stream. We're looking at possibly introducing that next year. This was just a test run. We're not going to be doing it every week. I was all in on the Minnesota offense. My God, was I wrong on that? Seriously. How bad was the Minnesota... Oh, did you not see?
No, I didn't.
So I put in 3 DFS lineups. 2 of them relied on the Minnesota offense. 1 of them didn't cash. Guess which one? The Minnesota offense won.
Oh.
I can't remember which one. There was something else. There was something... it was David Montgomery. I had David Montgomery in one with... I had Adam... and the one that lost had Thielen, Jefferson, and Cousins stacked. And Minnesota got owned by Tampa.
Yeah. They did not have a good week at all.
You know what? I'm gonna put out the harshest penalty I can. Kirk Cousins is dead to me.
Not Captain Kirk, just regular Kirk.
Kirk Cousins is dead to me. I don't care if he goes out there this week and throws for 650 yards. He's unusable in DFS. Dead. He is dead to me. That's it. I am done waiting for Kirk Cousins to be good. Done waiting for it. The only thing that makes sense to me about Kirk Cousins is that he is on some sort of mafia payroll. Because every time we think he's turned a corner and he's going to be a good quarterback, he has a week like this past week where he throws for 230 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks.
That's true. I used him a couple of weeks. It worked out. Not every week, but
that's great. It's like every time you rely on him, you can't rely on him. Every time you rely on him, you're screwed. Every time you don't need him and you're like, hey, he might have a good game. Let's toss him in a lineup and see what happens. He produces. Can't rely on him. Done. Dead to me.
Done.
But you know what that means?
What does that mean?
That means it is time for America's favorite game. America's favorite game, where Craig tries to beat the spread and identify fantasy plays for you. All right, Craig.
Okay.
This week, which is week 15 in the NFL,
Yes.
time is lost meeting in the days of COVID. I don't know what's happening anymore. And this beer's 9%. Oh, jeez.
Oh.
We accidentally got a little blast of extra music there. I thought I'd click stop, but I didn't. All right.
Okay.
9% beer, folks. Don't drink them. All right. I've got 6 games in front of me. All of them have at least a 50 over-under, which means there's possible fantasy relevance. Craig, with 3 strikes on the board, can you name those 6 matchups?
Let's go with Chiefs Saints. Let's just always start there.
Didn't even give me a chance to sip my beer. You just went right in. I have the beer, I'm like gulping. I'm like, oh. Chiefs Saints is absolutely correct. All right, that's a 51.5, and as I mentioned before, that's only a 3-point difference, which means they think that game is going to be like 50-48. No, that's not right. 26, more like 29-23. No, that's not right either. Jesus, don't drink and do this.
Drinking in math.
26, carry the 1. Or roughly, it's going to be somewhere in the realm of 28, 20. No, that's not right either. 27, 25, roughly? Yeah, that's about right. 27, 25. So 25 points is enough for me to be fantasy relevant. So I think, it doesn't make a difference if you like the Chiefs or the Saints. And if Brees plays, that number's going up. So that's the first one. What else you got for me?
All right.
And I'm not drinking, so go ahead.
Let's go Bucks Falcons.
Bucks Falcons is a 50.5. That was one of the ones
Nice.
I thought you would miss. And that's a 6-point lead, so you got to take 3 points off. So that's roughly 28-22 is the rough expected total. Falcons scoring 22 points, I'm not so sure. I think that's going to come in the under.
You think so?
I do. I think that's going to come in the under.
You trust Atlanta's defense to stop Gronk and Brady?
No, I just don't think that the Bucks did go off against frickin' Minnesota, so that's part of this. And the Bucks are 8-5. They're still trying to make sure they can get into the playoffs. All right, maybe I wouldn't touch that over under. I wouldn't touch it, but I would take the Bucks. I would take Bucks players. Yeah. So all right, you got 2 right. No, all 3 of your strikes remain. What do you got for me?
Ooh. You know what? Are they?
All right, I'm taking.
I mean, maybe rough. All right, why not? Texans Colts.
Texans Colts is correct. That is a 51 with a 7. So that's roughly 25 minus 3. That's roughly 28 to 22, roughly, give or take a point. So again, 2 teams both going to score at least 20 points. I don't know if that game's going to make the over either. So you can see 28-22 for Texans Colts?
No, not for the Texans.
That feels like a lot. I'm not big on that game. I'm going to avoid that game in terms of general DFS, I think. And I say that without having really looked at the metric yet, so I reserve the right to change that statement.
Fair,
all right,
fair.
you're 3 for 3. 3 answers left on the board. What else you got for me?
Let's go. Panthers Packers.
Panthers Packers. Oh, by the way, Lions Titans was the one I thought you wouldn't get, so I owe you a beer. Panthers Packers is absolutely correct. 51.5. I'm not shocked by that. I'm not. It's the Packers. Excuse me. The Packers should be an automatic virtually every time they're on this list.
Yeah, especially with the way Adams is playing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God. That's who saved that lineup, by the way. I used Jefferson and Adams, Devontae Adams, and my third lineup, the one without Kirk Cousins in it, scored 170 points because I had both Adams and Rodgers in it. So,
oh, nice.
All right,
nice.
so you're 4 for 4. I've got 2 left.
All right.
Wait a minute. What did you said Texans Colts, right?
Yes.
Oh crap! I crossed off the wrong one, which means I said it earlier.
What was it?
It was Lions Texans.
Titans.
Lions Titans. So I don't owe you a beer, but now I can't charge you for that one. Jesus. All right, no more 9% beers in the podcast. I say that next week I'll have like a 10.6.
It's not double ruffled. You're fine.
That was another 9% or 2. All right, so there's 1 left, and you have all 3 of your strikes.
Left.
You've got this.
Ooh.
Come on, Craig.
Rough. Very rough.
I'm gonna drink.
No. Man.
I can't see
Man,
this.
these
but
games
kind of
suck. All right, let's just say swing it with my eyes closed.
Sure.
Seahawks, Washington.
Nope. Strike 1. Seahawks, Washington. Let me pull it up really quick. 44.5.
Oh, all right.
Actually, that's not a bad call. I'm kind of shocked that one's so low. I would take the over there. All right, so you got 2 strikes left. What do you got for me?
2 strikes. Over 50. I don't even want to say this game, but what the hell?
Do it.
Browns, Giants.
Strike 2. Browns, Giants, which I think is actually going to be a better game than it looks like. That's a 44. He's got 2 strikes.
2 strikes.
1 game left.
One game left. Trying to think who's been doing well and not well.
I've got 2 buttons on my screen: the game over button and the game show intro button, which doubles as his victory.
What the hell? Let's go Bears Vikings.
Bears Vikings is his last choice, and it is wrong.
Duh.
Sorry, dude. The correct answer is Chargers Raiders.
You know, I was looking at that game too. Damn
How
it.
that game? Listen, there are 2 teams in the league with more wins on one team than those have combined, and yet somehow this is a 53.5.
I guess because it's a division game. Maybe
Did Joey Bosa retire? I mean,
he's still broken. No, actually, I think he's back.
53.5, and it's only a 3-point spread, which means they think this game is like roughly 28-25.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of credit to the Chargers, I think. I don't think the Chargers are going to get that 25 points there. So, that's
close. So close. I was looking at that game too.
Close, but he doesn't make it. So, all right, let's move on to the metric. Let's talk about some DFS. So this week, how did you do this week in DFS? How was your week?
Not well. I lost this week. The only thing I won in was our little podcaster pool.
That was nice. Well, that was $3. There you go.
Yeah.
So this week, I texted Craig, and I went, "My God, Minnesota sucks. I am so taking a loss this week." And then all of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers decided the only person who existed in his world was Devontae Adams, and I recouped enough to break even. So, and that's the thing. Breaking even is a gain of less than 20%. So if you bet 150 and you return 155, you broke even. I get it. I've said in the past, I'm like, well, if I win a single dollar, that's when I was betting like $4 a week. I'm not doing pools that small anymore, so you got to return at least a decent return. So this week I was up like $2.50 when it was all set. That's break even, guys. That's not a profit. So, all right. So let's recover this week. Let's get some money back, shall we?
Okay.
So let's take a look at the metric. The metric likes Teddy Bridgewater this week because he's only 5,200 on DraftKings and he's probably gonna have to throw a lot. I'm not big on that. So I asked for another name, and the metric said Taysom Hill, and I said, well, what happens if Drew Brees comes back? And it went, oh, well, never mind then. And then it said, well, how about Drew Lock, because he's only 5,000. I'm like, but he's playing Buffalo. And it was like, okay, no. And then it said, well, what about Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts is 5,900. I've got him pegged for 19 points. He's an option. But as I'm looking at the list, there's a lot of good options this week. You know what? I hate to say this. Mitchell Trubisky is an option.
And you never thought you'd say that, did you?
Not again. I'm sure I've said it in the past. I'm shocked. Phillip Rivers is an option. These are all guys under 6K that are all going to score at least 18 points. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, if I can spend up, I'm probably going Josh Allen because he's at Denver. He's 7,200. I think he gets to 25 points pretty easily. But, you know, if I have to save money, I'm going Jalen Hurts. If I can spend up, I'm going Josh Allen. What do you got?
Definitely Josh Allen is on my list. You know, he's kind of cheap. Because Matt Ryan is 5,400. You know, they're just going to throw the ball a lot.
Yeah.
So for 5,400, I would definitely consider that.
And you have to assume it because they're in that high over-under.
Yeah. And if you want to pay up a little bit more, and Cinch will hate this name, but Jared Goff's playing the Jets.
He's not a Jared Goff guy?
What's that?
Cinch hates Jared Goff?
Oh, he doesn't like Jared Goff.
Oh, really?
No. But he's 6,300 and he's playing the Jets. You know, he's probably going to score a lot.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good options at quarterback this week, and a lot of value options around 6K. I might do quarterback last this week, unless I really want to pair somebody, which I'm not sure I do this week. At running back, I said to the metric, give me value. It said Kenyon Drake. And I'm like, oh, you know, I've been a Kenyon Drake guy this year, and he's been okay. He's gotten a touchdown a lot, and he's only 5,500, so I'll look at him. But give me something more reliable. And he said, you know what? Listen, Derrick Henry. And I was like, but Derrick Henry's 9,500. He's like,
he's 2 players worth of money.
But he's 2 players worth of money, but he's 2 players worth of points. He's averaging, like, with the exception of that one bomb, was it against Cleveland?
Yeah.
With the exception of that one bomb, he's averaging over 20 points a game. So is he value? No, but is he probably the second best value on the board? Yeah, because he's just scoring a ton of points. There's just not good value at running back. So I'll pair Kenyon Drake with Derrick Henry. The next name it gave me was Austin Eckler, and I was like, no, I just can't trust him. And it's a Thursday game. I can't trust it. What else you got for me?
I don't like Thursday games.
Yeah, and you can't use it on the main slate.
No.
Then I was like, sorry. So Henry and Eckler, what else you got for me? Well, Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, Taylor's been hot, but his value is reflecting that. He's 7,200. So I'm looking at Kenyon Drake. I'm probably gonna try to pair Drake with Henry as much as I can. Places where I can't, I'm looking at guys like Devin Singletary for the upside. I'm looking at Miles Sanders. The problem is if Arizona goes up big, Philly's not going to run the ball, but Sanders looked really good against New Orleans. That big run, that's all you need. And people are like, well, he didn't look really great outside of that big run.
You only need a couple of runs, really.
Give me an 80-yard touchdown run every week. I don't care what his salary is. If his salary is under 10K, he's probably starting for me. So, you know, who do you like this week? Give me some other options.
This week, you know, if he plays DeAndre Swift, he's finally been coming around since he fumbled so much at the start of his career.
I just can't get on the Swift train. I want to so badly. I just can't get
someone
on the train.
who's had, due to COVID, someone's gotten a lot of touches lately, and that someone is J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, he's emerged.
He had a great week last week. He's probably going to get the same amount of workload, and they're playing Jacksonville, and he's 5,900.
What's going on with Gus Edwards?
I think he's either hurt or it was COVID. I can look that up. It's one or the other.
No, he played this week, and he was. Oh no, he's listed as a waiver wire pickup this week for Week 15. Okay, so he's not. Edwards has taken the lion's share, but Dobbins has really stepped up. And you were a big Dobbins supporter in the preseason, so I'm not surprised about that. So, you know what? I can see that.
It takes time for rookies. More so, I think, with running backs than receivers, but...
Yeah. I mean, there's Gus Edwards. He's 2 spots down on the value meter because he's 4,400. They are predicting a bigger game for Dobbins than for Edwards. So, wide receiver, I said, metric, give me a name. And it said, Lynn Bowden Jr. And I went, who in the holy hell is Lynn Bowden Jr.? I said, well, I've never heard this name before in my life. And I said, he plays for Miami. And I went, why do I want to start a guy I've never heard of from Miami? Well, I'll tell you. Because Devontae Parker was out. Jakeem Grant is out. Mike Gesicki all hurt in the game against the Chiefs.
Yes.
We're already missing Preston Wilson. Preston Williams, sorry, not Wilson. Preston Wilson. He was a New York Met.
Wow.
Preston Williams, who's been injured since the Arizona game, and they're without their top six. I didn't say that wrong, folks. Top six receiving leaders going into this week. Now, there's still a chance that these guys might play. It's early in the week. We record on Wednesdays. There's a chance they still play. But if they don't, this kid is going to get mad targets. And if he gets the lion's share of targets, he's only 3,600.
That is extra cheap. Then you can afford Derrick Henry and Devontae Adams.
There it is. He only needs 11 points. He needs 11
possible.
points.
New England's not spectacular.
And I said to the metric, hold on. What if he doesn't? What if it's not that good? What if like Devontae Parker bounces back or Gesicki actually gets himself healthy? Give me another name. And the metric said, well, then there's Tyron Johnson out in LA. And I went, who in the holy hell is Tyron Johnson? And so I had to go look him up. Mm-hmm. Tyron Johnson's the guy they've been using because Mike Williams is questionable with a back injury. Keenan Allen is questionable with a hamstring injury. Last week, he had 6 catches on 7 targets for 55 yards and a touch. When one of those guys has been out of the lineup, which is only twice, last week and then against Buffalo, I believe Mike Williams was out the week against Buffalo. One of them was out the week against Buffalo. He gets more targets. Other than that, he gets nothing. He gets 1 target a game. But if he gets 4 or 5 targets, his other big game was Buffalo, 2 out of 4 targets for 63 yards. He's averaging like 30 yards a catch. So
yeah, that's pretty impressive.
If Mike Williams is out, he's a flex option. If Keenan Allen is out, he's a flex option. If they're both out, he's a must start. And do you know what do you see what his cost is?
I gotta sort this.
3,300.
Wow.
So we have 2 guys under 4,000 that both have big game, high target potential, which means you can't use them in a tournament. Everyone and their mother is going to use them in a tournament. But you can use them in cash games. So you got to watch this week. If you see the news out of Miami for the receivers isn't good, Lynn Bowden Jr. is an option. If the Williams and Allen news out of LA isn't good, Tyron Johnson's an option. What have you got for me?
So this week, the chalk plays are Devontae Adams, but just like Derrick Henry, he's super expensive.
94.
He's 9,400.
Yep.
Ultra expensive. So maybe not really doable. Jefferson is 73, Thielen is 71, so they're sort of expensive. Some cheaper plays that I like. Curtis Samuel, he's 4,800. And, even though I know the team is a complete mess, but someone has to catch the ball, and T. Higgins is 46.
I've got him pegged for 12 points, which puts him under the value line, but that's still solid.
Yep. And then CeeDee Lamb, same thing. He's 4,500. Dalton threw to him a lot last game.
Yeah.
He can definitely score when he gets the opportunity. Other cheaper plays, I don't know. I still don't think I would touch Nelson Aguilar.
No.
He's 5,000.
No one should ever touch Nelson Aguilar is going to go off. It's going to happen. It happens a couple times a year. Don't put yourself there. Don't do it.
But probably, one of the higher price is maybe Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah,
He's
I
playing
like him.
Dallas. Their secondary is not super. He's 6,300, so a little pricey, but not chalk pricey like Adams.
Here's the question: Can Ayuk get to 19 points?
If you against Dallas?
Yes.
Yeah, it's possible.
If you think he can get the 19 points, play him. If you don't, avoid him. That's really what it comes down to. Do you think he's going to get there? 19 points is what he needs. For me, if everything falls the right way in Miami and LA, I'm using Bowden, I'm using Johnson, and I'm using Devontae Adams, and I'm still saving money overall in my wide receiver core.
Right.
That's it. Tight end. Draft one. The end. The metric was like, use Jordan Akins. I'm tired of listening to you about Jordan Akins. I'm not doing it. Logan Thomas, same problem. TJ Hawkinson, okay, now we're talking. The problem is Stafford may not play. So Stafford's on the injury list, and the last I heard, it was not looking good. So I'm like, all right, you got to give me another name. It was like Cole Kmet, and I'm like, no. No, give me a top 5 name, and it was like Robert Tonyan. And I'm like, all right, I consider Robert Tonyan.
Can deal with that.
So I'm thinking Robert Tonyan's 4,500, Logan Thomas is 4,000, and it's against Seattle. Seattle hasn't been great against tight ends. I'm probably just going to use whichever one of them I can afford. What do you like at tight end this week?
Tight end, same thing. I think you really don't want to pay way too much for tight end. Like, you really don't want to use Kelsey.
Right.
I mean, you could, but it's expensive.
I'm looking at my value list. He is way down. I have 35th best value in the league because he's 8,000. Not because he's bad, but because he's 8,000.
Money, right. And then you have someone like Dalton Schultz, who's been playing really consistently, and since she even agreed last week, but he's gonna catch a few balls a game. I think he's caught almost everything that's been thrown to him, and he's only 32. Not bad.
Can I just put out there?
That's still cheaper than Evan Ingram.
Can I just put out there that Mercedes Lewis hasn't had his one game of the year yet, and there might be one lineup I put out there with Mercedes Lewis. If I can go at captain's pool, I'll put Mercedes Lewis as my captain. Throw $1 at it.
Play another KFC tournament.
Another KFC tournament, yeah, something like that. I'll throw $1 at it, and if Mercedes Lewis decides to have his one game of the year, I'm going to be a millionaire. But other than that, yeah. No, tight end is a mess. Speaking of messes, defense.
Pick one.
Yeah. You know what? I did not even sort these on value. I put in all the numbers, all that I got to do it on the fly. Do it live. I didn't even sort them on value because it's all bad.
It's all bad.
Seriously? The metric just spit the Bengals out at me.
Yep.
You're playing the goddamn
because they're $2,000. They're the
Steelers.
cheapest defense, or one of the cheapest defense you're going to get.
But you're playing the Steelers, who've lost 2 in a row and are desperate to do something. There's no way that game...
Yeah, it's just, their games between each other, they're always violent.
Yes.
So someone might get thrown out.
Right, next option, Eagles at Arizona. No, it's Arizona. If Kyler Murray goes off, forget it. Give me something better.
I do like the Raiders against the Chargers.
That's where my eyes go next because they're only 2,300. The Raiders, I think you're going to keep the Chargers in check. I actually like that play a lot. I like that better than Eagles at Arizona.
Definitely.
Much better.
And the Ravens are just too expensive. They're 38.
Oh, God. Who's the top ranked guy? The Rams? The Rams? Oh, because they're playing the Jets.
Yeah.
But they're 4,500. No, I'd rather spend the 2,300 and do the Raiders. So I'm gonna I'm gonna pay down on the Raiders. I'm gonna pay down on the wide receivers if I can, so I can pay up everywhere else. But quarterback and tight end, whoever I can afford, I can afford.
But would you do the Giants against Cleveland?
No. I think that game's gonna be high scoring. I think these are 2 games it's gonna be a repeat of what we saw on Monday night.
Fair.
Not to that number, but don't be shocked that final score is 30-28 and you have no idea who won it. If I just tell you the final score is 30-28,
That's
no idea.
True.
I think the Giants are starting to figure things out. I think next year they're going to be a legitimate contender. This year they're probably going to sneak into the playoffs just because their entire division is bad. But next year they're going to be a legit contender.
And hopefully Barkley fixes his knee. So
that's a big part of this. Can you imagine if Barkley had been healthy this entire time? They might actually be a 500 team with how bad their division is.
That's true.
So
it's very true.
All right, final thoughts, Craig. We're out of time. What do you got for me this week?
Final thoughts. I just want to say that if you watch the Monday night game coming up, I apologize for everyone watching because it's not going to be a good game. Just like really quick for Bengals fans online saying this is the worst season ever. I have a feeling you've never watched the Bengals from the 90s.
Yeah, seriously.
It was really bad, like bad.
Seriously,
we have Joe Burrow now. Yes, he's broken. They said he's going to make a complete recovery, so you know what? He should be good. God willing, they'll get him some type of protection, I hope.
Those people have forgotten about the Schottenheimer years.
Yeah.
And not Marty, his kid.
No, Shula. That was Shula.
Oh, Shula's kid. That's right.
Yeah. He won not a lot. He was there for 4 seasons, 5 seasons, 4 seasons. I don't know. It was bad.
It was
bad. So everyone just calm down. Yes. Is Zach going to be the coach for the next 2 seasons? Probably not, because I don't think what he's doing is working. You know what? Giovanni Bernard, he had 850 carries with no fumble. That's incredible.
Man is a trooper.
He had 1 fumble last week. They benched him.
Yep.
He then benched the next 2 running backs and went back to Gio. Like, what the fuck?
You know what? When you're New England and you're Bill Belichick and you have options galore, you can afford to do that. When Joe Mixon is in a boot and on crutches, you can't afford to do that.
No.
I mean, that is such a Bill Belichick thing to do. But think about it. Think about even now. Let's imagine first play of the game, James White fumbles. Oh, I'm going to bench James White. Okay, well, you got Rex Burkhead. You've got Sony Michel. You've got Damian Harris. You have options. Who is the next guy up after Giovanni Bernard?
Trayvon Williams and Perrine.
Exactly. Are you kidding me? Samaj Perrine? You're going to bench Giovanni Bernard for his first fumble in 5 years and use Samaj Perrine? This guy could not stick in Washington. He could not stick in Washington when Adrian Peterson got suspended and broke his leg in 7 places. No. That's bad coaching. Bad coaching.
Yeah. And hi, Deb.
You can't. That's the thing. Everybody's like, well, you know what? Belichick does it. Belichick is a better coach than you are. He's got better depth. He gets more out of his guys.
Maybe not a quarterback, but...
Well, yeah, in general. But I don't have to like New England to acknowledge that he knows his guys and he has more depth of talent than most of the teams in the league. Okay, yeah. All right, well, the Chiefs have Hilaire and they've got Bell. Who's after that? Darrell Williams? Sure. You telling me Sony Michel's the 3rd guy down on the depth chart, maybe the 4th, and you're going to take Darrell Williams over Sony Michel? Hell no. Hell no. All right, my final thought is just simply we are in the home stretch of the season. I hope you guys all made the playoffs. If you did make the playoffs, good luck this week. If you didn't make the playoffs, I say this every year. If you haven't tried DFS, now is a great week to do it. There are beginner pools on both sites, DraftKings and FanDuel. Take $5, throw it into the account, and do a beginner pool. Listen to me carefully. Single entry beginner pools. Do not go into the regular pools. Oh, look, there's a millionaire. I'm going to throw $20 into the millionaire, and I'm going to retire. No, you're not. No, you're not. Not unless you can predict the 1 week Byron Pringle catches 6 passes for 120 yards. That's not going to happen. Go into the beginner pools. Double up your money. It's an easy way to dip your toe in the pool, and if you don't like it, withdraw your money and walk away. That's it. It's that simple.
Yep.
So
it is.
Leave us a review wherever you're listening to us. Stitcher, we found out we're on something called Podbean this week.
Oh, yes. That actually, I know what that one is. The other one, I have no idea.
That was Podbay and Grapple. I don't know what the hell these things are. Wherever you listen to us, please leave us a review. Reach out to us. We're at Fignuts DFS on Twitter. I don't check Twitter as much anymore. It's still a cesspool. I thought it would get better after the election. I was wrong about that, too.
No, well, you know what? We'll just wait till next year. It's fine.
Well, I don't even know if that's going to recover from that. But you can always reach out to us at fignutsdfs@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook at the Football Fignuts Podcast. There's a bunch of different ways to reach out to us. You don't need Twitter. No one needs Twitter. But until next week, please enjoy the game. Stay safe out there. The holiday season's upon us. There's a raging pandemic outside. There's no reason to go outside, people.
There's a blizzard.
There's a blizzard if you're in Connecticut. Don't go outside. Stay inside where it's nice and safe.
Thunder Snow.
Thunder Snow, who I'm pretty sure is an action figure from G.I. Joe, but I'm not 100% sure. But whatever you guys do, stay safe, be good, enjoy the football games. Craig and I will be back next week. Until then, my name is Britt.
I'm Craig.
And we are the Football Fignuts Podcast.